Oh, hello everyone, this is Eagle Owl. On today's video, I'm wanting to talk about considering emergency heat sources for, let's say, like when your power's out. Plus, obviously, you can use emergency heat for different scenarios. You can use them in a garage when you're working on a car, or outside when you're working on a car. You can use them, I don't know, you can even use them out in the woods or whatnot. But I'm mainly focusing on emergency heat for the home. Now, if your power should go out to your home, and sometimes power goes out in homes for like 2 or 3 days straight, sometimes even 4 or 5 days. If this happens during a very cold time of year, you don't want an entire family sitting in a house freezing or having to all sit there with blankets all over them just to keep from freezing. So I would strongly recommend for people who are into being a prepper or a survivalist, always having, I would say, two separate types of backup heat on store. What I mean by two separate types is you don't have to go just strictly kerosene or strictly, another method. It's kind of good to have two different options. Anything you do backup on, it's good to have two separate types because if say one type isn't available, the other type is, or price differences. There's just different reasons to have separate scenarios. It's about, like they say, don't put all your eggs in the one basket. Um, the two types that I have that I believe in strongly are kerosene and propane. And there's pluses and negatives for both styles. And then some of it's just a matter of preference. There's the price, there's the safety, there's the availability factor. I'm standing by a couple. I'm standing by a kerosene one here and a propane one here. One good thing about kerosene is kerosene burns extremely clean. It heats up. It gets really hot. It heats up really good. Just about every gas station in the nation has a kerosene pump, so availability is everywhere. Literally every corner block where there's a gas station, there's going to be a pump off by itself with kerosene. Um, so with kerosene, because it burns so clean, most likely it's whatever style you get, it's going to be safe, rated for indoor use. Um, the only thing I would be kind of careful with kerosene is you got to, wherever you store the actual backup supply of kerosene, that's a highly flammable liquid. So you don't want to keep that in your house. You keep it in the garage or somewhere, and then just use how much you need at the time for in your house. This is a 23,000 BTU heater. If you're not familiar with BTUs, that's a rating on how much heat it puts out at one given time. 23,000 is pretty strong. I've been without power before, and I've used this in the main living area, and this can literally heat up 2 to 3 rooms all at once to a comfortable level where you feel fine. This can literally heat up, let's say you open one bedroom door, it can heat up a bedroom and a front room and a kitchen, that whole area, all sufficiently to where during the middle of winter, during a snowstorm and frigid weathers, you can feel comfortable. It wouldn't do an entire house, but it'd do an entire section of the house. That's 23,000 BTU. You literally just fill up a tank on them like you would a tank on a car. You only want to use kerosene. You don't want to put anything else in them. And then this one here is a 10,000 BTU, which is, almost half of the heat output of that one. So although in actual size, it don't look much smaller, it's a smaller unit. So you want to consider how big of a unit to get. This one, like I said, is propane. You see how we got the standard cookout propane tanks? One thing about those is, as far as safety factor, you don't have a loose flammable liquid laying around that could be dumped over or whatnot. With these, if you weren't careful, a toddler or something could shove flammable items up against the flame. With that, you don't have the factor. But with every additional tank you buy, because you're wanting to store up a decent amount of it, that each tank, that's that much more space you're taking up, and you're paying for every tank too. So it's like not only are you purchasing the fuel, but you're paying for a tank also. Whereas with the kerosene, you can just just keep buying fuel. Um, this one is not rated for indoor use. When you're using propane as an emergency backup heat source, you've got to be mindful if it's rated for indoor use or not. This one is not. I got one over here that is rated for indoor use. This brand I highly recommend. It's called Mr. Heater. Mr. Heater makes everything from very small to very big. They got a long line of heaters, and I firmly stand behind them. This one here is, I think it's like 18,000 BTU, which is pretty strong. But you got low, and then you turn it on medium, which it's on now, so it went a little bit brighter on that square. And then when you switch to high, all of a sudden the second square lights. Now you got both squares burning at the same time. So you got 3 different levels you can choose, which is really nice. On low, you can heat a large bedroom sufficiently, and these tanks last a long, long time. I mean, they do pretty good. Another thing to keep in mind when it's the propane is some of them come designed to take the little cookout, the little camping propane, the little 1 pound ones. Let me show you real quick. A lot of them come designed to take these right here, and this one was designed to take one on each end on the inside, and you close the door. That's fine for like if you're hunting and you want to keep your hands warm and stuff for the day. But this 1 pound one doesn't last real long if you're trying to heat a whole house for an emergency. So what they sell is they sell an adapter. They sell an adapter because the size of the threading on here is smaller than on a cookout grill. So they sell an adapter that goes from the size of the larger cookout grill one, and then it downsizes to this, and then it comes with the holes, which is what I've done. So I got both options. I can run the big 20-pound tanks, or I can run a little 1 pounder on each side for easier convenience. But I don't want to run on and on with this video for too long, other than to say, along with emergency food and water and self-defense protection, backup heat is a very important thing to always keep in mind, especially if you live in a state that does get cold. The last thing you want is a little newborn or an old person or a frail person sitting in their own house freezing during an emergency. That's mentally, that just drains you, plus it's dangerous. So anyway, I won't go on and on. This is Eagle Out. Thanks for watching.